Hello there. This is Molendinarius here at Latinum, and in this video I want to talk about my thoughts on the where I'm going to be going with Latinum on YouTube. So I will still be producing little pre-recorded clips like the ones I'm doing on Comenius, but I've been doing a lot of thinking about where things are heading in terms of the coming AI apocalypse, I suppose one would call it. And I've been thinking that what really is going to be valuable for you and for me and for everybody else in this world, this new world of infinite amounts of created material, is live, real world experience. And so what I'm going to be doing is broadcasting on Twitch. And at the moment my Twitch account is new, so I would really appreciate it if you followed the link below the video. The Twitch account is called Der Millner, one word, DERMILLNER. And on that Twitch account I will be broadcasting my music practice sessions, and also I'll be reading Latin aloud. So there'll be two separate things going on there. Some of it is going to be Latin-based material, and I will not be pre-recording, which means that for me it's of course a much more risky venture, because sometimes what I do when I'm pre-recording material is, if I'm unsure of the exact pronunciation of a word, I'll press pause and I'll go look it up. But if I'm going live, then I won't be doing that. I'll be relying on the store of knowledge that I have acquired over the years, and so there will of course be the inevitable errors and mistakes in quantity and so on and so forth. But in general, these are few and far between, and most of the time when I look something up, I was right. I just had some hesitancy about it. It's very seldom these days that I look something up and think, oh, I really didn't know how to pronounce that word properly with the vowels in the right lengths in the right places. In terms of music, I'm a beginner, and I started to learn music when I was very, very young, 6, 7 years old, for 1 year. I did music for 1 year, and the unfortunate decision was taken, I won't say who took it, to take me out of physical education and put me into piano classes, which wasn't good, because the teachers, the physical education teacher, then teased me mercilessly, and the other students also, why aren't you doing sports and so on and so forth. And as a result, after a year, I just refused to practice and was thrown out of piano lessons. The piano that you can see here, this piano has an interesting story. It came to me for free. I'm on the island of Samothraki in Greece, and this piano was in the back of a huge Mercedes truck, which a chap called Ilmari, who lives in Finland, had brought to Samothraki in his truck with a whole lot of other instruments. The idea was to create some kind of musical center here on Samothraki. Anyway, COVID happened and he parked the truck in a place with some friends and went back to Finland. Anyway, Samothraki has very wild weather, and winds can blow almost 200 kilometers an hour at times. And the truck was moved to an extremely exposed spot halfway up a mountain. I don't know why it was moved there. I heard some story that the army didn't like it being on the road where it was, because there was a little army base down the road where it had been parked, and it got moved. And this truck had a large hydraulic lift at the back, and somebody, not knowing that the battery of the truck was pretty much flat, opened the hydraulic lift and then couldn't close it properly again. And so the truck was open and people were going into it. Almost everything inside it got stolen, and people were going in, sleeping inside and so on. Anyway, I went to visit some friends up where it was parked and poked my head inside and said, there's a piano inside here. And I went inside, had a look at the piano, and it seemed to be in reasonable condition. And I started to make inquiries. Whose truck is this? Whose piano is it? And eventually, after much poking around. Eventually I got the name of the chap whose truck it was, but this gentleman had no online presence. But I discovered that he was in a rock band, and his name was listed there in the town, because I had his name in the town he was on in Finland, but that's all I had. No Facebook, no LinkedIn, no nothing. This chap had no internet presence at all. So I found him by contacting his bandmates, who then contacted him, and eventually got permission to move the piano here. And it was a good thing too, because the piano has been here now since February last year. There was an enormous storm, and the windows of the truck blew out. And I went up to my neighbours, who's got a utility truck for his farm, and said, look, we need to go and fetch this piano. And I had two strong guys here last winter. And the four of us went. We took a mattress that was still inside the truck and put the piano on the mattress and brought it here. And then it was slightly out of tune, but everything seemed to be okay. And then it must be 5 months ago now, when the piano came, and when I contacted the Conservatoire, the Orpheum in Alexandroupoli, across the Thracian Sea. There's a little music school there in Alexandroupoli, and said, when someone comes to Alexandroupoli to fix your pianos, can they come to Samothraki and look at my piano? Anyway, it so happened that the mayor of Alexandroupoli held a party in his house, as mayors are wont to do, and decided on the spur of the moment that he wanted a grand piano at his party, and he phoned up the council workers and said, can you bring the piano from the Music Conservatoire to my party? Anyway, the piano never arrived at his party. On the way to the party, it got dropped. And this, of course, led to the piano being, you drop a grand piano, things happen to it. Anyway, the chap who came up to repair it is based in Saloniki, and he does all the main piano repairs, rebuildings in the north of Greece, maybe all of Greece, I don't know. And he came across and spent 4 hours on this piano, busy tightening screws and changing bits and pieces. But he told me that it's in very good condition. It's a Polish piano, built for export from the communist period, and it's hardly been played. There's almost no wear on the felts whatsoever, and it's now in perfect condition. But I hardly touch it. I prefer to play this little harpsichord. And this little harpsichord also has a story, not so much of one. It was a present from myself, to myself. Came from England, and it was designed, and the action was built by John Barnes, who was the curator of music at the Victoria and Albert Museum, and he did the initial research on this Keane and Brackley piano, harpsichord, and restored it, and created the models for the reconstructions on historical models. And then this was put together by a chap here, his name Ian Wiley, in 2001. I don't know anything about him. And then it found its way back to his son, Peter Barnes, who did a full restoration, and then I got it from Peter Barnes and had it brought over here. It was cheaper to get it from London to Greece than from Patra to Samothraki. So that's how things are. It didn't cost much at all to get it shipped across from London to Greece, surprisingly, but it did cost quite a lot to get it moved across Greece. So this is the harpsichord. I play it pretty much every morning. And I've also got a reed organ coming. This reed organ came from the Erskine Chapel up in Belford in the north of England on the Scottish borders. And that chapel closed down a few years back and has been sold to convert into apartments. And the organ from that chapel is coming here. I don't really know too much about playing the organ, but there are similarities between organ playing and harpsichord playing. Not so much between piano playing and organ playing. So I've been playing this for 1 year. I'm still not that good at it, and I practice a lot. in the mornings. So I'll be streaming some of those practice sessions and also doing my Latin material as streams as well from now on. So please do subscribe to my Twitch channel, although I will be sending stuff from Twitch across to YouTube as well once I work out how to do it. And that's pretty much it. So subscribe to YouTube and head across please to Twitch so I can get my first 50 followers, which will help a great deal for me to establish that Twitch presence. And thank you all of you who've watched this or are watching this or may watch this for all your support over the years, either at Patreon or as YouTube subscribers. Bye.